I reminded them how, months ago, I'd mentioned Paystream's partnership with Amazon. Mom barely reacted, just said, "That's nice," and then turned to ask Owen more about his promotion. The memory hung in the air, undeniable. "And at Christmas," I continued, "I tried to tell you we processed over $10 billion in transactions this year." Mom had suggested law school instead. "It's not too late," she said, "you're smart enough." Now her eyes filled with tears. "I was just trying to help." "You were trying to fix something that wasn't broken," I said gently. "My career didn't need fixing, it just didn't look like Owen's, so you assumed it was less valuable." My phone buzzed. 11:47 p.m. West Coast colleagues, early leaks. 13 minutes, I said. "The Forbes article goes live at midnight. When it does, your phones are going to start exploding. People might have questions about Owen's billionaire sister." "Jesus Christ," Owen muttered, running a hand through his hair. Trevor approached, awkward and apologetic. "I'm sorry for the unemployed comment earlier. That was ignorant and rude." "Apology accepted," I said. Judge Henderson stepped closer. "If you knew this news would overshadow Owen's night, why come?" "Because he's my brother," I said simply, "and I'm proud of him. Making partner at 35? That's huge. My success doesn't diminish his." For the first time in years, Owen's expression cracked. "I've been an ass." "Yes," I said calmly, "you have. I'm sorry." "I appreciate that." 11:58 p.m. Notifications erupted. Someone gasped. "Forbes has her listed, Paystream founder. Net worth $1.3 billion. Midnight hit. Every phone lit up at once. Breaking, youngest woman on Forbes billionaires list. Paystream founder worth $1.3 billion. The room shifted. Suddenly, everyone had questions for me. Gerald, who once mocked my startup, hurried over. "Miss Chin." "I didn't realize. I'm sorry." "No harm done," I replied, smiling politely. Across the room, Owen stood alone, staring at his screen. I walked to him. "Sorry your party got hijacked." "Don't be," he said. "My sister's a billionaire. You've done more than I ever will." "Success isn't a race," I told him. "You made partner at 35. I built Paystream. Different paths, same pride." "I called your company a hobby," he said quietly. "I was wrong." "You didn't know," I said, "because you never asked, but you can ask now." "I want to," he said. "I want to understand what you've built." Mom and Dad approached, shaken. "We owe you an apology," Dad said. Mom wiped at tears. "We clung to old ideas about success. We were wrong." "I forgive you," I said, "but I needed your support when things were uncertain, not just now that Forbes approves." "You're right," Dad whispered. "We should have believed in you from the start." The celebration slowly shifted. People wanted to hear about fintech, about innovation, about my company. Around 2 a.m., Owen found me on the balcony. "Thank you," he said, "for coming, for not rubbing it in, for still treating me like family." "You'll always be my brother," I smiled. "Coffee next week?" "I'd like that." Weeks later, at a quiet cafe, we sat together as equals. Owen had a notebook open, truly curious. He asked about Paystream's technology, encryption, scaling, the breakthroughs. He listened, he learned. "This is brilliant," he said. "I had no idea. I'm sorry I didn't ask sooner." "You're asking now," I said. "That's what matters." My little project had become a billion-dollar empire. But the real success wasn't the wealth or headlines. It was this moment, my brother seeing me, finally understanding. Success has many forms. The best kind is the one you define yourself, and the one your family eventually learns to respect. Nothing, just work stuff. "Work?" Owen repeated, adding air quotes. "Riley, when are you going to get a real job? Dad pulled some strings, he can get you an interview at his firm's corporate office." "I don't need Dad to pull strings," I replied softly. "Pride won't pay your bills," he said. "Look, I'm doing great, partner at 35, Amanda's a senior manager, we're buying a house, planning a wedding, building real wealth." "What are you building? Sitting at home on your computer?" "You'd be surprised," I said. A distinguished woman stepped up beside us. "Owen, congratulations on making partner," she said. "Your parents must be thrilled." "They are," he said proudly. Then, with a patronizing smile, My little sister here is still figuring out her path, but I'm sure she'll find her way eventually. What do you do, Riley? Judge Carolyn Henderson asked. I run a payment processing company called Paystream. We build infrastructure for e-commerce platforms. Judge Henderson blinked. Paystream? I know that name. One of my cases last year involved payment processing disputes. Paystream was referenced as the industry standard. Thank you, I said. Security is a big focus for us. Her expression sharpened. Wait, you run Paystream? They process billions in transactions. Over 40 billion annually, I confirmed. Owen laughed, strained and uncomfortable. Billions? Riley, be serious. I am being serious, I said. We support over 800 platforms worldwide. Our top 20 clients each process more than $1 billion a year through us. If that were true, we'd have heard of it, Amanda scoffed. You're hearing of it now, Judge Henderson cut in. Paystream is huge in fintech. My daughter mentioned they just raised a major funding round. We didn't raise, I corrected. We were acquired, 2 weeks ago. Private equity consortium, valued at $2.8 billion. Silence spread like a shockwave. Dad's champagne glass hovered midair. Mom stared at me, speechless. Owen paled, the color draining from his face. $2.8 billion, Mom whispered. I still own 47%, I said. So yes, my stake is worth roughly $1.3 billion. You're a billionaire? Owen asked, voice cracking. As of 2 weeks ago, I nodded. Amanda shook her head. If you were a billionaire, we'd know. It'd be all over the news. I checked my watch. 10:28 p.m. 1 hour and 32 minutes. It will be, I said. Forbes releases their self-made billionaires under 40 list at midnight. I'm number 7. Trevor, the one who called me unemployed, dropped his drink. It shattered across the marble floor. Dad stared at me. You're on the Forbes billionaire list? They finished fact-checking last week, I said. The article goes live at midnight. Owen sank into a chair. How did we not know? Because you never asked, I said gently. For 6 years, you've introduced me as someone who does something with technology. You called my company a hobby, a project, a little startup. You told me to get a real job, dozens of times, but not once did you ask what I was actually building. Mom swallowed hard. We thought. You thought I was unsuccessful because I didn't look successful. I finished. No giant office, no suits, no corporate name on the door. I work from home, so in your eyes, that meant not serious. Judge Henderson was still staring at me, amazed. Paystream changed the industry. The encryption models alone, every conference has referenced your work for the past 3 years. We have an incredible team, I said. Why didn't you tell us? Owen demanded. Why let us think you were struggling? I wasn't struggling, you assumed I was. I told you exactly what I did. I told you about clients, expansions, long nights. You dismissed everything because it didn't fit the story you preferred. Amanda bristled. What story? That Owen is the star and I'm the disappointment, I said simply. Owen the brilliant attorney, Riley the confused one who never figured out her career. That's not fair, Dad protested. Isn't it? I asked quietly. Last Thanksgiving, when Owen announced he was being considered for partner, you toasted his brilliance. You told him you'd always believed in him, but whenever I shared news, you told me law school was still an option. I told you Paystream signed a partnership with Amazon. I said. You smiled, said, that's nice, and went right back to asking Owen about his promotion. The silence that followed made the memory feel heavier, unavoidable. And at Christmas, I continued. I tried to explain we'd processed over 10 billion in transactions that year. Mom's voice echoed in my mind. It's not too late for law school. You're smart enough. Now, tears filled her eyes. I was trying to help. You were trying to fix something that wasn't broken, I said gently. My career didn't need fixing. It just didn't look like Owen's, so you assumed it was worth less. My phone buzzed again. 11:47 p.m. Early news leaks from West Coast colleagues. 13 minutes, I warned. When the article goes live, your phones are going to blow up. People will want to talk about Owen's billionaire sister. Just brace yourselves. Jesus Christ, Owen muttered, dragging a hand through his hair. Trevor hovered nearby, hesitant. I'm sorry about the unemployed comment earlier. It was ignorant and rude. I accept your apology, I said. Judge Henderson stepped forward. Why come tonight? She asked softly. You knew this would overshadow Owen's celebration. Because he's my brother, I answered, and I'm proud of him. Making partner is a huge accomplishment. My success doesn't diminish his. Owen looked at me, really looked, and something genuine flickered in his eyes. I've been an ass, he whispered. Yes, I said, you have. I'm sorry. I know, I replied, and I appreciate it. 11:58 p.m. Notifications hit like a tidal wave. Forbes has her listed, someone called out. Riley Chin, Paystream founder. Net worth, $1, $3 billion. Midnight. Every phone lit up. Breaking, youngest woman on Forbes billionaire list. Paystream founder worth $1, $3 billion. The room transformed instantly. All at once, everyone wanted a piece of the story they'd ignored. Gerald, the man who once mocked my startup, hurried over. Miss Chin, I didn't realize. No harm done, I said, offering a polite smile. Across the room, Owen stood alone, staring at his phone as if seeing a ghost. I walked to him. Sorry your party got hijacked. Don't be, he said quietly. My sister's a billionaire. You've done more than I ever will. Success isn't a race, I told him. You made partner at 35. I built Paystream. Different paths, same pride. He swallowed. I called your company a hobby. And you were wrong, I said, but you never asked. Now you can. I want to, he said. I want to understand what you've built. Mom and Dad approached, stunned. We owe you an apology, Dad said. Mom choked back a sob. We were stuck on outdated ideas of success. We were wrong. I forgive you, I said, but I needed your belief before Forbes confirmed it, not after. Dad nodded slowly. We should have believed all along. The attention shifted. People were suddenly fascinated by fintech, security protocols, global scale. The narrative was rewritten in real time. By 2 a.m., Owen joined me on the balcony. Thank you, he said, for coming, for not rubbing it in, for treating me like family even when I didn't do the same. You'll always be my brother. I smiled. Coffee next week? I'd like that. Weeks later, in a quiet cafe, he sat across from me with a notebook. No ego, no competition, just curiosity. He asked about encryption, infrastructure, growth. I explained. He listened. This is brilliant, he said. I had no idea. I'm sorry I didn't ask sooner. You're asking now, I said. That's what matters. My little project had become a billion-dollar empire, but the true success wasn't wealth or headlines. It was this moment, my brother's respect. Being seen. Being understood. Success comes in many forms. The most meaningful kind is the one you define, and the one your family finally learns to recognize.